Welcome to Real Estate Coaching Radio, starring award-winning real estate coaches and #1 international best-selling authors, Tim and Julie Harris. This is the #1 daily radio show for realtors looking for a no BS, authentic, real-time coaching experience. What's really working in today's market, how to generate more leads, make more money, and have more time for what you love in your life. And now your hosts, Tim and Julie Harris.
Welcome back. Today's podcast is a combination of a mindset podcast, which you guys really like, and a take action podcast. And so, Julie, what inspired you to have this be our topic for today and tomorrow?
Well, you know, we get so many calls between the coaches and our own calls and texts and messages with a theme that goes something like this. How can I become successful faster? How can I find success now? I don't have time to wait to be profitable. Now, the answer comes down to following a handful of simple daily rules. We and the coaches call that minimum standards.
And really, exactly, minimum standards is what it comes down to. So we're going to be presenting to you the minimum standards that you should be doing every single day, what we'd prescribe to you as if you were coaching clients. And we're also going to help you to clearly understand what really are the 3 to 5 things that you need to master in real estate to be successful long term. And this is designed to make it so that you have less to think about, less to do, less to worry about, less to research, and less on your to-do list. Because really to be successful long-term in real estate, I'll just tell you guys this right now, and you can see how we're going to formulate today's presentation around these key points. To be successful in real estate long-term, you A, need to be a listing agent. Just no two ways about it. B, you need to learn how to be a proactive lead generator. In other words, buying leads. As you will soon discover in the marketplace, is going to become even more of a pain in the ass. Look what Zillow is now doing. All these poor souls out there who've been buying all their leads from Zillow and other portals are soon to be fired from Zillow, and Zillow is going to start charging the remaining agents a lot of their commission, a higher percent for referral fees in essence. That is coming to a market near you, and don't think for a second that the other agents or the other companies that sell you guys buyer leads aren't going to do the same thing. So being a listing agent, in the old saying, it's kind of funny how old the saying is, to last in real estate, you have to be a listing agent. You have to list to last is what we were taught day one when Julie and I got our licenses. And now more than ever, that is really incredibly true. So #1, be a listing agent. #2, be a proactive lead generator. #3, these are the things you have to master. #3, you have to learn how to do very effective high-level pre-qualifying. #4, you have to learn how to be a very effective presenter, and then closing. But really in a marketplace like this, when you follow our listing presentation, closing is easy. And by closing, we mean specifically closing on a listing presentation. But again, our 7-step listing process is designed to do the closing for you. So really when you get down to it, once you've decided to be a listing agent, these 3 skills, Julie wants to throw in there lead follow-up, which I'm going to agree with. But these are the core elements once you've decided to be a listing agent. You have to be a proactive lead generator. You have to be very, very, very effective following our scripts of being a pre-qualifier, presenting, and then again, I know Julie wants to tag on there being very good at lead follow-up, which frankly I put in the same bucket as being a proactive lead generator, but
True.
It is a different skill set, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. That's right. So how do you organize all of those thoughts? Let's say that we've gotten you this far. You now understand all of those things, and you still feel overwhelmed and want success faster. Well, point #1, follow the daily minimum standards and find your success faster with fewer frustrations and distractions. I had this very discussion with the call I had maybe a half an hour ago, which is point #1. This particular agent did have leads, both listing leads and buyer leads, was kind of doing lead follow-up, but was very disorganized about it. So point #1, daily minimum standard, use and update daily your visual accountability whiteboards. You should be tracking the following. Write these down. This is all based on your goals. You should have the real estate treasure map by now, but you're going to visually in front of you on a whiteboard track. Yes.
And, well, before, Julie, you get to what they should be tracking, because I'm sure some of these guys are going to start feeling overwhelmed. Remember, guys, we can offer you a free coaching call with one of our new member coaches. I didn't check prior to today's podcast how many open spots we have left today, but the way for you to find out and the way for you to choose your day and time that you can have your free coaching call, just text the word JOIN, J-O-I-N, to 47372. Text the word JOIN, J-O-I-N, to 47372. And on that free coaching call, you will be given your real estate treasure map, which Julie just alluded to, which is your fill-in-the-blank business and life plan. It's definitely the first thing we have all of our new coaching clients complete. So text the word JOIN, J-O-I-N, to 47372. Again, it's JOIN to 47372. We'll text you back a link where you can choose your day and time for your own personal one-on-one new coaching call with one of our new member coaches. Remember, message and data rates may apply.
That's right. So what goes on this whiteboard that will be in front of you? Leads, primarily listing leads, but you should code them in two different colors, listing leads versus buyer leads. Buyer leads, many of which you will refer. Active listings, these are listings that you already have taken and have signed. Your pending closings and your closed transactions. If that's not in front of you all the time, even if you have it on a spreadsheet, you're not going to have a sense of exactly what's going on and where you need to do the work. So for example, let's say that you're an agent and you have a full leads board, but your active listing boards is basically blank. Well, that tells you that you're not closing on those leads, and those leads might not actually be really good quality leads.
So let's paint the picture for them. The idea is, again, that we want to give you fewer things to think about. So I want you to visualize this. You're walking into your workspace. Your workspace is not your notebook. Your workspace would be an office. You're going to have a stand-up desk there. You're going to have a computer there. You're going to have a headset there. And on the walls, you're going to have dry erase boards. On those dry erase boards, one of the dry erase boards is going to be for closings. Another is going to be for your listings. And maybe your listing, you might have a board for buyers, but frankly, I wouldn't. Mm-hmm. The other one's going to be for your pending transactions. So your pending transactions, that can be kept track of on some sort of transaction coordination software, some sort of CRM, and you can easily delegate that. We know of people that will close transactions for you for $250 a file. EXP agents, if you're listing, make sure you're using EXP's closing coordination system. It's really brilliant, especially for the price. And by the way, yes, you can have your seller pay for that through a transaction fee. But in any event, that is the visualization for you. You walk into your office, and I want you to think about what Julie just said. If you have a dry erase board that says listings, and you know based on your real estate treasure map, which is your fill-in-the-blank business and life plan, as I just said a second ago, you know that you have to have, say, 5 listings or 10 listings at all times to meet or exceed your financial goals and your obligations and the rest of it. Well, you walk into your office and you see that you have 10 listings that are there, but none of them are selling. You know, maybe they've been on active for 30 or 60 days. Well, that's time for you to refer back to your coaching program and learn how to get price reductions. But most likely what's going to happen is you're walking to the office. You know you're supposed to have 10 listings at all times, or 5 or 3, whatever your number is. Like Julie and I, when we sold real estate, it was like 35 in order to meet or exceed our financial goals. You walk into your office, and you're going to see that you have 3 listings, even though you're supposed to have 5 at all times. Well, then it's very clear what you should be doing with your time, isn't it? That's a constant reminder that you are there to list real estate. And also the same goes true with your closings board. So imagine a dry erase board. It's up on your wall of your office. And we have Premier Coaching members. We have pictures of this in the Harris Learning Portal. You can go and see other people's dry erase boards and how we suggest for you to set your office up. But let's say, for example, your treasure map was calling for you to sell 25 houses. And let's say it was going to be half sellers, half buyers. Well, you walk into your office again and you see the dry erase board that's numbered 1 through 25, and you're thinking, well, I'm ahead of the curve. Well, let's figure it out. By June, how many closings should you have had? By May, how many should you have had based on selling 25 for the year or 100 for the year and the rest of it? Now, you do have to take into account that most markets have a bit of a bell curve in real estate sales, so you might not get as many in, say, for example, January as you do in June, but that's all laid out for you in the real estate treasure map, how to figure all that out. You guys get it? What we want you to do is be constantly surrounded by the activities that you should be doing, and those dry erase boards act as a bit of a visual, well, they're acting as a coach, really, is what they are. Reminding you that even when you have a great day, I only have 3 listings, I'm supposed to have 10. Or if you have a crappy day, you can go there and look at the closings that you've had and say, you know what, this may have been a crappy day, but look what I can do. You guys get it? Do not have plaques and awards up on your walls. I know a lot of you love to do that, but the problem is those act as anchors to the past. You need to be focusing on the future, and that's what these dry erase boards and goal setting is all about. And if you want to get your treasure map, the best way for you to do it is text the word JOIN to 47372. Text the word JOIN to 47372. Remember, message and data rates may apply.
That's right. So point number 2, again, we're simplifying your daily schedule here with minimum standards. Review your finances every day. Yes, when you start doing this, it feels a little stressful because you're having to be honest with things. But here's the question. Are you on track, ahead, or behind based on what your real estate treasure map calls for? You can use Mint.com, we've talked about that before, as your dashboard of key performance indicators that tracks your savings, checking, credit cards, investment accounts, properties, and everything else financial using Mint.com. And that includes your credit scores as well as upcoming bills and your actual budget. But every day will get you much more in touch whether you're on track, ahead, or behind, and you'll know what to do.
So let's talk about why is that important. Again, this goes to visual accountability. It goes to keeping yourself in the real world. For example, you, again, referring back to the treasure map, you're going to learn when you complete it what your daily burn rate is, your personal burn rate and your business burn rate. In other words, you're going to know how much money it takes for you to exist every single day. While you're listening to this podcast, not to stress you out, but you are spending money. While you're doing nothing, you're spending money. While you're having dinner, you're spending money. You are constantly spending money. Heating, air conditioning,
gas in your car.
Exactly, especially nowadays, and all these types of things. So every single day, it costs you and your family something to exist. It is very helpful to know what that dollar amount is. Again, we'll make it so that you will then be able to refer back to that when you are wanting to know if you're on track, behind, or ahead of the curve, or what you should be doing per your plan. And that, again, is something we always go to. Like when someone says, I just can't find my motivation.
Right.
99% of the time when you hear that from anybody, especially a real estate agent, it's because they earned a lot of money the previous month. And what they're doing is they're living off past performance. So one of the things we teach all of our coaches to do is say, okay, great. How much money do you have saved? I have saved, whatever the number is, $25,000. Okay, congratulations. And how much money does it cost for you to pay all your personal bills every month, including taxes and the rest of it? Bare minimum standards, $12,500, let's say. Well, then you have, assuming there are no unexpected expenses, 2 months worth of savings. So does that mean you're going to wait 2 months to be completely flat broke again before you get back to work? And I have news for you guys, having coached a billion agents over the years, that is the case for most humans. They're going to wait till they're flat broke in order to have the motivation to get back to work, because most people are only motivated when their backs are against the wall. And that's something, as you develop more financial maturity, that you should be able to work yourselves out of. But for now, this is an incredibly important system that you put in place to keep your head in the game. Again, the whole point of this visual accountability is the word accountability.
Oh, that sounded scary.
It did. Yeah, and we're big advocates of Mint.com. It's free. If you go to Mint.com and set up an account, and they do port in there are actually some accounts where they won't port in, but for the most part, savings, checking, you can put in credit cards and whatnot, and they monitor all these different accounts and will give you little notices when, say Amex charged you a fee, or you got money, somebody paid you, or something else is going on. Or it also tells you whether maybe you have some stocks and maybe you have some real estate. It'll update what the values are. Now, granted, it uses Zillow, so take that with a grain of salt.
Yes, but you can update that yourself for accuracy. So that's all good.
But again, this is a way for you. You are a business person. Your goal, your business, the product of your business is profit. We talk about this extensively in our book, Harris Rules. Your product, yes, is happy customers. Yes, is sold houses. Yes, there are all these sort of emotional things. But really, at the end of the day, if you're not making profit, you're not running a real business. You're running a nonprofit business. It's with that profit that we teach you guys to reinvest that money so that your money will one day work for you. You no longer have to work for your money. In other words, you can buy rental properties and do other things, buy stocks and other forms of security that will pay you dividends. You can live off the dividends. That's the point of having your real estate business. Any business, by the way. It's supposed to be, in essence, an ATM machine, not just to fund your life, but to fund your future.
Exactly. So point number 3, perhaps one of the most important points you will hear on this podcast, make contact. That's right. Contact is a conversation with a decision-making adult about real estate with at least the same number of people as transactions you must do this year. If you must close 20 transactions to meet or exceed your goals this year, you must make 20 actual contacts daily to meet that goal, at least until you've worked your own ratios out and you know what your own tendencies are. This is the place to start. So again, adjust as your skills increase, but focus on people who are most likely to sell. Example, existing leads you just need to close on. Look at your wife off board. Expireds, for sale by owners, probate, relocation, past clients, referrals. Just listed and just sold calls don't really count unless they are directly around your own listings. So what I just described there is an hour or two, depending on who you're calling, a day in the life of our coaching clients. So for example, many of the developed listing agents can do what they need to do just by following up on the leads that their for sale signs have generated.
Right.
So for them, that's going to be different than somebody who's been licensed 2 years and doesn't have a lot of past clients and is just learning to be a listing agent.
Now, here's the little thin ice part of this, what Julie just read. Now, I want you to go back, and again, this is part of the treasure map, and think about what she said. If your goal is to sell 15 units this year, you're going to want to make 15 contacts every single day. Psychologically, it always works out that way, but that's the pattern. You start living this 15 number every single workday, and that's what materializes, or it sort of just shows up in your life, basically. But really what it is, it's the accumulation effect of long periods of time of doing what you don't want to do when you don't want to do it at the highest level. Now, here's the fallacy in this. Your contacts have to be the high yield contacts. You cannot just do centers of influence and past clients. You cannot just do circle prospecting. You cannot just, call you want to be calling people that have their hand in their air and say, yes, that potentially, they're already saying, yes, I want to sell my house. So how do you know who those people are? If you're not putting yourself in a position to hear the word no at least 5 times a day, you're calling frankly, the less motivated leads. That means you're going to have to learn this crazy word called skills. And that's what we teach you in the coaching program. We're going to teach you how to call all the most motivated sellers. And there's about 20 different sources, but really over time, you'll master maybe 2 or 3 of those sources, and you'll be right as rain. Yes, I'm talking about unrepresented owners, aka FSBOs. Yes, I'm talking about expireds. Yes, I'm talking about notice defaults in some markets. Those are coming back. Yes, I'm talking about probate listings. Yes, I'm talking about for rent by owners. All the other sources that we teach you. We give you scripts. We tell you what to say. We tell you what they're going to say when you say what you just said, and basically just follow the script. And you can personalize. We don't want you just reading the script like if you were at McDonald's asking if they want fries with that. We want you to memorize the script, then internalize the script, and then we want you to personalize the script. We want you to make it your own. We want you to become the script has to become so internalized and personalized that over time, you don't even remember where you learned it. It's just so natural, and what you say it basically sounds perfect. That's what you have to do if you want to become a professional, proactive lead generator.
That's right. And for those of you who are saying, well, there's not that many for sale by owners in my market. Well, first of all, I would challenge how hard you're looking for them, because there are, especially in a hot seller's market, lots of for sale by owners. So go ahead.
So if you want to know the easiest way, a system Julie and I used when we were prospecting is we use RedX. And RedX is a great service because it does go every single day and finds you the phone numbers of all the new hottest seller leads. And remember, at the end of the day, guys, there's no such thing as a buyer that has to buy. They can always stay put. But there are lots of examples of sellers that have to sell. Absolutely, positively have to sell. The pain of not selling is more painful than the whatever perceived inconvenience there is of going through the selling process. So focus all your best energies on the people that have to transact, not on the ones that will probably change their mind just for whatever reason, aka buyers. So we definitely suggest that you use RedX. And we do have an arrangement with RedX that all of you guys can get $150 off the RedX service. Just text the word RED, R-E-D. Text the word RED, R-E-D to 47372. And we'll text you back a link, and then you can click the link and you get $150 off. It takes you to a microsite, and then you can check out what RedX is all about. Now, I'm going to give you guys some advanced coaching on this. When you subscribe to RedX, make sure that you ask for the old expireds. Those are the gold. We've had many coaching clients that are calling the old, like what did Chris Leon tell you in Chicago? He's calling old expireds for how long ago?
Especially during early COVID, like first and second and third quarter of 2020. Those have been a gold mine. Also, anything that's a little bit unusual probably will sell in this market. I've been talking to people who don't normally dabble in things like farm, land, commercial, mixed use, all that stuff. All that's selling right now.
It is.
Normally, agents don't really like land listings unless you're a land person, right? But that stuff's selling because everybody wants to develop right now.
If you don't know how to list land, learn how to list land. If you don't know how to list a mixed use, learn how to list a mixed use. If you don't know how to list a commercial, well, in some cases, you might want to list with a commercial agent. But for the most part, you can learn it yourself.
That's right.
You're going to have to expand the services that you offer to the customers that you offer to if you want to make it into this market. And land listings is so funny you mentioned that. I am noticing a ton of land listings. Yep. The houses that never would have sold in a normal market are the ones that are selling now. The ones that smell funny, look funny, and funny locations.
Well,
and are overpriced.
Yeah. So, for example, one of my newer coaching clients was telling me about a very elaborate, highly developed dairy cow farm, okay, that has these amazing like barns with air conditioning.
I heard you on this coaching call.
I know. I'm like, yes. So the person who is maybe going to write on that, I mean, that's kind of a weird listing, even if that's your thing, right? But the one of the offers they got almost immediately was from somebody who wanted to turn those elaborate big barns into storage facilities. So that kind of deal happens in a market like this, right? The other offer that she's probably going to create is the owner who has it's like a genetic engineering for dairy cows. And she said these barns are so elaborate. They take these cows and they're not just like field cows. They wash them. They have heated pens. This is like a whole thing, right? So that's not like everything that she does. That's one of her spokes that she knows about. She also does normal residential and things like that. But the point being, agents will say, well, there's not enough expireds. There's not enough for sale by owners. So first of all, I'm not sure you're looking that hard or looking that far out, but how many do you need to make this worth it for you? We did a podcast called For Sale by Owner Math. We did another one called Expired Math. With prices what they are right now, let's say you were only okay at it. You're learning our scripts. You're using RedX, and you just sell one for sale by owner a month for 10 months of the year. And your average sale price is $500,000, which is the national average right now. That just added $15,000 a month to your profit.
Well, a more advanced coaching, there's maybe 10 really amazing times of the year to be picking up the phone and being a proactive lead generator. And it's any time the end of the month, end of the month, beginning of the month, rolls over on a weekend. Those are always great times.
Yep.
But if that happens to be a holiday, that's a gold mine. And I'll tell you why. Because all sellers are going to be home. Most of them are going to be in good moods. Most of the agents that you would normally, if you even have any other agents that are over the phone prospecting those sellers, most of those agents are not going to be calling. They're going to be taking the day off. Now, I will tell you this. Do not freak yourself out or talk yourself out of actually doing the real work of real estate because you lack skills. You can get the skills. Don't freak yourself out or believe that you can't do it because everyone else is doing it. Trust me. Everyone else is not doing it.
Nope.
What they're doing is making TikTok videos and YouTube videos, and they're mailing people letters. They're not actually learning how to do the real work of real estate. So stop listening to the people that are telling you that it really comes down to this, guys. 99.9% of everyone will never do what they don't want to do when they don't want to do it at the highest level. So why would you listen to people who are living a life of never doing what they don't want to do when they don't want to do it at the highest level? Why would you take advice from them? Because they don't know what the heck they're talking about. Nope. Because they're not willing to do the real work of real estate. You are, and that's how you're going to be successful long term. And I'm going to tell you guys this, and it might shock you, it might offend some of you. There is not a single soul who is successful in real estate long term, whose the core elements of their business is not proactive lead generation, despite what they might tell you. They pick up the phone. They have direct conversations with people. They might reinforce that relationship or that call with social media, like Julie and I are on Instagram. You guys can, a lot of you enjoy watching Julie and I torture ourselves doing kettlebells every day. And we're doing it, we're posting videos, little short videos, to provide accountability to all of you and hopefully motivate some of you to start working out as well. That's really what our agenda is there. But I'll tell you right now, there's very few people that would be willing to do what we're doing every single day, and we do it every single day, and we hate doing it every single day, and we're posting videos of us doing it every single day.
Well, that's visual accountability, isn't it?
Right, and the accumulation effect of having done that, we're actually becoming pretty damn good at it. And the same thing happened with prospecting. The same thing happens with all things in life. So you've got to be willing to put in the time, and it does take time to build the momentum, but this is how you build this life that you've always dreamed of having. There are no shortcuts. When people are trying to tell you their shortcuts, they either are telling you something that they know is not true, or they're just trying to sell you into what their product is, which is basically a shortcut. You guys get it? Everybody who's successful long-term in anything knows that it takes long periods of time of doing what you don't want to do when you don't want to do it at the highest level.
Speaking of which, our final point, and then we'll wrap and continue this tomorrow. There's a reason you hear this on virtually every podcast, regardless of what we're talking about, because this is a core skill. Point number 4, practice furiously fast lead follow-up on 100% of your leads. 100% of the time, no exceptions or excuses. Don't have different lead follow-up rules for different types of leads. Use our 18 relentless lead follow-up rules if you're a premier coaching client. We have talked about that on many podcasts, but you can't sit on your leads, right? Somebody was asking me today if whatever lead source was good, and I said, well, there's lots of elements to that. Maybe an agent's getting lots of leads, okay? They're getting that list from RedX every day, but they sit on them for too long. That's an agent lead follow-up problem, not a lead generation problem.
Or they henpeck the leads they're going to call.
They overanalyze it,
Right.
They cherry pick it, they spend hours of research on it, and by the time their research is over, somebody else has already called and closed them.
Well, so going back to that, to your point, Julie, here's the key when you're working with RedX. You have your office. Remember we were describing this a second ago. Julie's going to go pick up Zoe. Be careful on the road. I love you. So you have your office. You have your stand-up computer. You have our Harris certified scripts on the wall. You have your dry erase boards. Maybe you've got some motivational music going. You guys visualize this. And so what you're going to do is you're going to start making these calls so RedX is going to show you what the next phone number is. The worst thing for you to do is not call that phone number, or even better, use their auto dialer to call the phone number for you. And then you're just there ready for the phone to pick up and the person to say hello, and you know what to say and how to say it. I know this is not a romantic approach to real estate lead generation. I know many of you have this fantasy that you're going to be able to create a plethora of leads from landing pages, from social networking, from TikTok videos. Many of you actually believe that you can become these big global influencers and the real estate leads are going to start pouring themselves in. So the point I was trying to make a second ago with regards to, for example, Instagram. We do post images on Instagram. No, it is not branding. No, it is not. You could argue that it's marketing, but not really. We don't get very many leads from it. But really what's happening is it reinforces the podcast. It reinforces what Julie and I are doing. It reinforces our book. So the best way for you to think of your business, and this is the same way when Julie and I sold real estate. So if you're going to do the proactive lead generation, you get really, really good at it. You're calling, you're setting appointments, you're pre-qualifying, you're going out there and taking the listing, you're washing, rinsing, repeating every single day. If you want to reinforce that with social media, we encourage you to, but don't do it out of order. The first thing that has to happen is the skills, or learning the skills and then doing the work. And then again, if you want to then start doing some of the social stuff, you can. The important part of what I'm hopefully conveying to you is the social stuff is optional. The real work part is not. If you want to be in this business long term, the real work part is what you have to master. And it does require skill. It does require time. It does require, the quickest way to do it is obviously having a coach. So the social media stuff is fun. The social media stuff is incredibly passive and amazingly ineffective. But it does reinforce the online activity. Just like, for example, the direct proactive lead generation activity. For example, if you are specialized, like Julie and I specialized at our later stages of our real estate career, in this area called New Albany Country Club. We would prospect every day, as we've just told you guys many times, but then we would also do just listed and just sold cards when we took a new listing. It was part of our listing presentation. Now, I will tell you the listed cards never got listing calls, but the sold cards occasionally would. So remember I told you that. Sold cards work, listed cards don't, and the design of the card and all that stuff makes sense and all these things. But here what would happen is that we would list a house in somebody's neighborhood. They'd see us at Starbucks or the grocery store, and they would comment on the listing and maybe mention the fact that they got our card. Now, would they have called us if they had a house to sell or had a referral for us just off the fact that we had a listing in their neighborhood? Absolutely. But what the card did is it just reinforced it. Would we have sold more houses without it? Did the cards help us sell more houses? Arguably, but not really worth the expense. And the same can be scaled up to social. All this stuff is merely there, unfortunately, in most agents and frankly entrepreneurs' businesses as a distraction away from doing the real work. Anybody who's successful long-term knows what I'm saying is true. And everyone who's successful long-term actually wishes I wouldn't be telling the rest of you guys all of this because they don't want more competition, right? They want you guys to be believing you can TikTok your way to success versus doing the real work of real estate that requires real skill. You can do this. It's not too difficult, but stop procrastinating. Why would you waste time and money trying to figure out if what we're telling you is the correct way to build your business? Why don't you just do it? And why don't you stop trying to invalidate or look for excuses not to do things that might make you uncomfortable temporarily? Guys, doing what we're asking you to do is a hell of a lot easier than getting good at even doing podcasting, let alone making a video. I want you to think about that. What will get you to the end zone faster? Actually doing what we suggest you do, actually picking up the phone and having a conversation where we tell you what to say and how to say it, or trying to figure out all the intricacies of making a really good YouTube video. Why would you bother doing the thing that's more complicated? Why wouldn't you do the thing that will get you to the result quicker? It doesn't make sense, does it? I mean, here, another way of thinking of it. You can every single day turn on your computer and have almost magically in front of you appear a list of people that have to sell their homes. Or you can then Or I'm not suggesting this is a viable alternative, but some of you will think it is. Or you can do a bunch of social media, social networking, spending a bunch of money on your branding, hoping that somebody's going to want to call you just because they liked your brand or your logo or the picture of you, with your dog. You guys get it? It doesn't make sense. Go directly to the people that have their hands in their air right now saying, yes, I want to sell my house. And then if you choose, and here's the interesting takeaway, you can choose to never do the other stuff. You can choose to never do the passive stuff, and you will still be wildly successful because you've learned how to do the proactive stuff. 99% of all agents will never learn how to do the proactive stuff, so there's less competition when learning how to do the proactive stuff than there is doing the passive stuff. It's interesting when you think about it, because intuitively what I'm saying to you guys, you know is real, you know it's the truth. So now it's up to you to take action on it. The easiest way for you guys to do that now is just text the word JOIN, J-O-I-N, to 47372. You pick your day. You pick your time. You're in control. You can have a coaching call with one of our new member coaches and move forward with our coaching program. Listen, I know you guys love this podcast. It is the #1 listened to daily podcast for real estate professionals in at least the United States. It is truly our pleasure and our honor to be your podcast host. If you like this, you're going to love the coaching program. I mean, we only scratch the surface of what's in the coaching program on our podcast. It's not the same. It's not even anywhere near the same. With our coaching program, you get a daily semi-private coaching call with one of our with one of our normal coaches, not a new member coach. You get access to all of our coaching program, all the scripts, all the objection handlers, all the pre-listing pack, every single aspect of what it takes for you to build a business. And yes, we talk about team building. Yes, we talk about branding. Yes, we talk about, passive lead generation. But the primary focus of our coaching program, because we're doing this with integrity, is teaching you guys how to do things that are going to put the most money in your pocket, helping the most people as fast as possible. Not gimmicks or shiny objects. And hopefully, not all of you will that appeal to, but hopefully most of you it will. So text the word JOIN to 47372. And remember, message and data rates may apply. So listen, guys, we're going to pick up where we left off today, tomorrow. In the meantime, have a fantastic day. And again, we'll talk with you on the show tomorrow.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.